Hello, welcome back. Joe Biden's pandering to idiots partying at Club Caliphate is coming back to bite him in the keister. Both Democrats and Republicans not happy with old Joe abandoning Israel by withholding military aid. Watch.
You're not sending weapons to Israel during a war? Cadaver Joe Biden, me, Michael Rappaport, I'm not voting for you.
The president is a tool, folks, but Hamas is using him, and he is allowing it, and he is turning his back on Israel.
But now making decisions on what you can and what you can't use, you got to do the our way or no way at all. That's not who we are, and that's not what we should be doing.
You are either for Israel or you're for Iran and their desire to exterminate Israel and Jews around the world.
I didn't agree with that. You know, I was disappointed. I haven't seen anything with Israel's conduct that would ever justify conditions.
Fetterman in a hoodie. How gauche. Joe's risky move, putting him in hot water with his pro-Israel supporters. His campaign receiving this email from a mega donor saying, quote, bad decision on all levels. Please reconsider. When it's that short, you know it's serious. Meanwhile, the squad has taken notice and is doing a victory dance. Claiming the anti-Israel mobs ruining college campuses are working. Ilhan Omar and Jamal Bowman encouraging the Hamas fan clubs to keep it up. So, Judge, is this a victory for the squad?
Absolutely, and they see it as a victory. But not only does the squad see it as a victory, Hamas, the Houthis, Hezbollah, they all see it, because no one is happier with this decision than the people who are trying to kill us in Iraq and Syria, the people who are attacking us from Yemen. I mean, you can't be on both sides of a war. All right, but what we do know is that Biden, when he was vice president with Obama, there was money going over to Israel to get Netanyahu defeated. The Biden gang is the one who says, you know, Netanyahu has to go. He's a threat to democracy, as if, you know, they should be more worried about what they're doing. But, you know, Joe Biden is more than an embarrassment. He's more than just a liar. He's a turncoat. He's putting his tail between his legs and he's running. He's running while he gives $10 billion to Iran, opening up the market so that they can get billions of dollars so they can destroy the Israelis. And the idea that, you know, who the hell are you to say to the Israelis, you can't fight this far. You're not allowed to do that. I mean, Joe Biden's the one who left $80 billion worth of weapons and left them to the Taliban in Afghanistan. He's not telling them how to use it. And sooner or later, if we haven't already been victimized by them, we will. But Joe Biden is a vessel. He is nothing. I want to know who in his family is benefiting. Is it his brother? Is it his son? Is he benefiting? Because to allow for Jewish students to be barricaded from class, not bringing in the FBI, not bringing in the Department of Education, the man he's a turncoat.
Yeah, and to Trace Gallagher's point, UCLA is now confronting the pro-Israel protesters, the counter-protesters, and they're letting the pro-Hamas protesters run amok and violate the civil rights of Jewish students. There are some cynics, Harold, who say this is all a play for Michigan. That's all the president is doing here, is he's kowtowing to the squad, and he's abandoning Israel. In 2019, he said the United States would never withhold weapons funding from Israel because they are our greatest ally and our only ally in the Middle East. So why the hypocritical turn? Is it Michigan? Is it those votes in Dearborn?
I hope not. I hope what it is, and I tend to agree with everything the judge said here. I hope what his motivation is to try to get us closer to a ceasefire. I'm not convinced this is the way to do it. His motivation, it probably is some collateral motivation around the politics of it. But this is wrong. You can't, if indeed Israel is our most important, most dependable ally in the world, I would take it outside of the Middle East. You can't do this to an ally. You can't do this to a friend. Even if there are compelling arguments on the side that suggest that maybe we should, that we are right and they're wrong in what they want to do in Rafah, but you can't withhold this aid. I do hope, like has been said by my friend Haim Saban, the mega donor you talked about, who's a great guy, that the administration will reconsider this one.
All right. Well, when you lose Haim Saban, when you lose Michael Rappaport, have you lost the election, Jesse?
I wish I was a mega donor. Isn't that the best name? Mega donor.
You're a mega boner.
All right.
This is funny. Oh my gosh.
Coming on to me? So Biden's managed to do something that no one's ever done. Both the Jews and the Muslims hate him.
Yes.
And that's hard because he's been trying to split the baby from the jump. Remember, at first there was like, oh, everyone's anti-Semitic. And he goes, whoa, it's actually Islamophobia. And then everybody started going nuts at Columbia. And then he was like, oh, there's fine people on both sides. I only saw one side. And then as the final battle's about to be waged, he's like, oh, here's your weapon, psych, and pulls it back. Now, we have to remember why, because there is no Biden base.
Yes.
He's afraid of the far left because he cut a deal with the Bernie bros and he cut a deal with the squad in 2020. He says, you back me over Trump, I'll give you whatever you want. I'll spend trillions of dollars. I'll do equity. And that's held until now. And now the base is mad and he's either ignored it or he's caved. And it just sends us such a terrible signal to not only the base, but to the foreign enemies who think we could just light a fire in America and the president will buckle.
Yeah, we haven't even reached the crescendo. I think we're going to see that in Chicago for the Democratic National Convention this summer. And it scares me because there's so much tension on both sides and the president is really doing nothing to quell that. The Biden State Department just releasing a report finding reasonable evidence that Israel's use of U.S.-provided weapons in Gaza likely violated international humanitarian law. I think they are trying to bolster withholding weapons from Israel with some more formal language. But speaking of language on college campuses, so much of the vociferous, the loudest voices have in fact been female. And Heather McDonald wrote that, many of these protesters are young women who are populating the softer sciences on these college campuses. Are they creating problems for themselves?
We've been talking about this for a while, trying to figure out why the women are the primary kind of voice of these movements. And I think a lot of it has to do with the choice of majors. Hard sciences, you can't take off. But in soft sciences or soft majors, you get extra credit for this activism. Plus, the organizers are pushing the women up front because they know it's bad optics. If the men, the police officers are confronting the women, they know, if you touch them, that's bad. But it's weird that women protesters have become the central part of BLM, trans movements, Hamas, anti-police. They're left-wing on anything that needs limits. Border, biology, terror, crime. So why the tantrum against limits? It's almost as though it's an eruption against what imposes limits. Dad. And that's why I think you're seeing an upsurge of dad brain. The adults are finally coming home and saying enough. It's like your analogy from yesterday about Jesse Jr. wanting to stay up later. It's like at some point you have to say enough. There's a good example, the janitors, the custodians union planning to sue Columbia University. It's against the mistreatment that the janitors experienced when they were imprisoned by these protesters. It's a perfect juxtaposition. You have people with hard, real jobs versus the so-called victimized, pompous elites. It's not really about Israel versus Palestine for these people. It's blue collar versus elites. It's why protesters get a pass when they block traffic, when they keep commuters from getting to their jobs. They're higher on the food chain than the electrician, the janitor, the nurse, and the media, who are the elite of the elites, have more in common with the protester. Female, single, miserable. So they share that in common.
All right, there you go.
That's really good.
Yes.
Oh, I thank you.
Yeah.
Nailed the dismount. All right, coming up, Operation Convince Everyone How Awesome Joe Is as president. It is now officially underway. Stay with us.
Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You won't get it anywhere else.